Buckle in, sports fans. You're listening to The William Haynes Show. The program will be starting in just a couple of minutes, so grab your popcorn and get ready to enjoy the show. While you're waiting, make sure you're following us on social media at WHBC Stream and staying tuned to WHBCStream.com. We're so glad to have you today on the program, and we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line on Twitter or call the show 352-639-0036. And thanks again for tuning in.
HBC. Well, it is. So good evening to you and how you be. William Haynes here, you there, here at 12 midnight sharp, here on this very early now Thursday morning on the William Haynes Show, as always live from the WHBC studio in Tallahassee, Florida. Some not so great news to discuss here tonight as the Rays fall at the hands of the Houston Astros by a score of 4-3. In Game 4 of the American League Championship Series, the Rays still hold a 3-1 lead. They can still punch their ticket to the World Series tomorrow. First pitch at 5:07. It looks like it's going to be Josh Fleming in some form or fashion, and probably a bullpen day for the Houston Astros. And we'll keep you updated on all that. Nothing has been made official on that front. What we do know, we got the box score in front of us. I have the scorecard that I filled out during the game. 4-3 loss. They had the tying run 90 feet away with 2 outs, and it was Yoshi Tsutsugo with a decent fly out to right. Not a terrible at bat. I think ultimately a pretty disappointing game for him. Ended up getting his first MLB postseason hit. You know, that's fine. I was glad that he got in the lineup. I was making a case for him to come in last night. I was saying, you know, you're paying him $5 million this year, $7 million next year. Do you believe in this guy or not? And I know, you know, the caveats is he's still getting used to Major League pitching and this and that. He plays DH and bats 8th and ends up going 1 for 4. So, and a couple of decent at-bats. I mean, grounded into a double play that, if the shift wasn't exactly in that spot, could have been a base hit. Had an infield single there in the 7th inning as well. Brandon Lau did not start, so it was a really weird lineup. And I'll go ahead and open up the lines now. I mean, over the next hour or so, I mean, I'll be talking about this game. But we got anyone listening that wants to call in, we've got a line open at 877-566-1020 is the number to call. Again, the Rays lose 4-3 to the Astros. For the Rays, it was 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors. And for the Astros, 4 runs on 9 hits, no errors for them either. So for the third time in 4 games, the Astros out-hit the Rays and finally get the win. It was another Jose Altuve solo home run in the first inning. We've seen that in almost every game during this series so far, so you're thinking, okay, you know, get the sweep. Sweeps in a best of 7 are pretty rare, though, in MLB history, so it makes sense. And I told you guys that last night, that Certainly the Rays could win, and it helped that they had Tyler Glasnow on the mound. I did not expect Greinke to pitch as well that he did. Give him a ton of credit. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Rays just, I don't know what it is about those soft tossers, man. They just can't do anything with it. The guy has a fastball that tops out at like 89, 90, and occasionally he'll push through like 91 with an extra grunt, if you will. And they really weren't able to do anything with it. He only got touched up for 5 hits, 1 walk, so 6 total base runners over 6 innings. They really couldn't put anything together for the Rays. It was a total of 5 men left on base. They go 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position, so not a whole lot of opportunities. The game basically came in the 6th inning where they left the bases loaded. They let Greinke kind of work himself out of that. Back-to-back singles from Argo Meadows, then G-Man Choi single to load the bases with 2 outs, and then it was Mike Brasso on a full count struck out. So for all the postseason heroics, I guess the one moment was not able to come through at that particular point. Brandon Lau ends up pinch hitting for him in the 9th inning and just has a lousy strikeout. I don't want to get too negative. I don't want to dog on the dog, if you will, because he still is that dog in a very good way. I mean, he's that man. At least during the regular season, I think had one of the best statistical seasons in the MLB for a second baseman, and that's fine. I think he'll be a big piece on this team moving forward. But in this postseason, he's on what? It's got to be like a 1 for 35, 1 for 36 stretch at this point. Really has given the Rays nothing in 2 or 3 weeks. Where is he? I was glad that he wasn't in the starting lineup. There's no need to have him bat second every night for him to go 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. That's just that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help the team. That doesn't help Brandon Lau. That doesn't help Kevin Cash. That's really not good for anybody. And Brandon Lau, a guy I think that can handle being on the bench. I mean, he came off the bench again to pitch hit in the 9th inning and really just worked a lousy at bat. He started off 1-0, took, I think it was a slider high from, that would have been Ryan Presley, and then gave him 3 straight basically sliders down and in. And he swung and missed at all of them like he always does. I don't understand. You had the righty-lefty advantage, and I know that slider for Presley is a good pitch, but I mean, okay, you swing and miss it the first time, it's 1-1, maybe let the next one go. No, swing and miss at that one, and then I understand with 2 strikes you have to protect, but it was just a lousy at-bat. Really just Presley had him set up from that 1-0 pitch on, so that's the story for Lau, and obviously it's not the reason the Rays lost tonight. I would say the reason they lost is just they couldn't do anything with that bases loaded situation. Not really a jam, it was a jam for the Astros. The Rays seem to get about 1 scoring opportunity a night where they can really string together hits and get men on base, and if you don't come through in that one spot, you're going to lose the game. I mean, we saw, looking at the other games in the series, in Game 1, it was Zunino with an RBI single and a 2-1 win. In Game 2, it was that Manuel Margot 3-run homer with men on base. That was the game there. Game 3, it was that 6th inning where they put up 5 runs. So, and I'm sure it was really more the same in that Yankee series as well. If you don't take advantage of that one inning, and usually it's at the end of that starting pitcher's outing where you can finally start to see the ball well, if you don't take advantage then, that's the game, because the Rays, they can get base runners. They didn't do that as much as they had previously. It was just kind of an off night for that. They totaled 7 hits, got 2 walks, so 9 base runners over 9 innings. Not great, but they couldn't string them together, certainly, and couldn't get anything going. They leave 1 on in the 7th, and of course the tying run 90 feet away in the 9th. And I guess you could point to maybe that's your game. Not really to blame Setsugo. Good for good for Wendell to run out what could have easily been a game-ending ground into double play. Also, Willy Adames with that double finally came through. He's been working a lot of walks in this postseason. I kept saying that playoff Willy was a myth, and he almost tied it up with 1 swing. It was just a handful of feet short of being a home run, and I could tell at that point the game was over, that they weren't going to come through, because the Rays have been good with a timely home run, but when was the last time they really had a good solid timely hit? I would say probably, obviously the 6th inning yesterday, that 5th inning in Game 1, but really when you were down and out and you really needed a big hit at the end of a game, the Rays just haven't been getting those, when a base hit drives in a run. And, of course, it was the bottom of the order as well. They had the righty and lefty. So I don't know. It's hard to keep going on and on about that. It's a 4-3 game, so it's close. Kevin Cash said that he was encouraged with the way they came back, and, I guess that's fine. For Mark Tompkin on Twitter, the Rays are still deciding on a pitcher for Game 5. Glass now takes the blame, saying he basically had one pitch today, the fastball. And that's something, and I guess we can talk about that here. That's one thing I warned about last night was Glasnow is basically the best pitcher in this rotation, I believe. But with him being a two-pitch pitcher, if the curveball is not there, it's really easy to make contact. So you just sit on the fastball, and not quite flashbacks of Game 5 against Houston last year where he got touched up for 4 runs in the first 5 batters of that game, and either Glasnow was tipping his pitches or there was some sign stealing going on. Not hard to steal a sign when there's only 2 signs, but either way, it's I don't know. He gives up 8 hits, walks 2, so 10 total base runners over the course of 6 innings. Minimizes the damage, I guess, to an extent. The 4 earned runs, I guess, doesn't look great on the stat sheet. Gave up the solo home run to Altuve in the first inning. I'm looking, it was in the 3rd inning, the Jose Altuve double, and that was because he walked the 9-man, which is just a huge no-no, and then gave up a 2-run homer because he allowed Maldonado to reach base again. So, and Dave Wills on the broadcast on WDAE, I was listening to that tonight, had it synced up with the telecast, which is much better than the people on TBS just having the hometown guys call. But basically, the key for Glasnow tonight, if he had not allowed Martin Maldonado, the 9-hitter, the catcher, I don't know, ESPN probably wouldn't give me his lifetime stats. I can try and dig it up. He's not a great hitter. Batted .215 during the regular season. In his career, he is, of course, they don't just give me the average. For his career, he's a .218 hitter, so I don't know why you walking him. Why? You give up on a 3-1 pitch, you give up a single to him in the 5th, and that sets up the 2-run homer to Springer the very next at bat for him. And I don't know, that was just the disappointing part in the curveball. I don't know. I couldn't really get a good feel for what was going on. It seemed fine. His blister acted back up on his thumb. You could see he had blood all over his pants again, and he said it doesn't really affect anything. Okay, you take his word for it, but what's the deal with the 8 hits, man? It's just, I don't know. And he takes a loss. He's not really who I blame for the loss tonight. I don't, because the Rays had a chance to win this game with their offense, and they relinquish opportunity time after time after time. Greinke was giving them pitches, and of course, this doesn't show up in the stat sheet, really. Maybe just taking strikes, but just easy pitches to hit, and the Rays, they swing through them, or they take. Dave Will says this all the time. It seems like the Rays take the best pitch that they would get in an at bat. It could be 85, middle, and they just watch it go by. And I don't know what they're looking for, but they'll swing at every slider in the dirt, guaranteed. That's what they do. So I don't know. We've been too doom and gloom for a 3-1 series lead in a best of 7, but we've been talking about this is the team's fatal flaw. Ultimately, I think it's going to be the Dodgers that make the World Series. Even when the Braves were up 2 games to none, I was like, well, I'm not going to count the Dodgers out, and they win. What was it, 15-3 here today. So let's say, the Rays go on to play the Dodgers. If they don't win that series, it's because that they don't come through with runners in scoring position. It's not going to be because of the pitching or this or that. The defense has been absolutely spectacular. I think this series may be as close as tied if it wasn't for how good the Rays defense has been. It's one thing, and I saw someone on Twitter was saying that the defense wins championships adage in baseball. Usually when people say that about a team in the postseason in MLB, it's just that they make routine plays consistently, they don't mess up, they take care of business. No. This 2020 Rays team in the playoffs, they take away base hits, take away extra base hits, including with men on base. That's literally saving runs right there, and that's been a huge part. So who knows And all those aspects are really carrying this team because the hitting certainly hasn't been there. It was good to see. I think one of the bright spots is they finally get consistent hits and on base appearances for the top of the order. Each of the first 4 hitters had a hit. I mean, we've been talking about, it seems time and time again, like the number 1 and 2 hitters combined to go 0 for 10 with 4 or 5 strikeouts. That's not how baseball works. That's not how runs work. It's just, you're asking too much from hitters that aren't the best in your lineup. There's a reason why, Meadows and Brandon Lau would be batting at the top of the order because those are your guys. And when your guys don't produce, or when Dave Wills, I know I'm plugging him all over the place, but he always says you need your best players to be your best players. And really, over the course of this postseason, mostly, at least from a hitting standpoint, they haven't been. It was good to see Meadows get a couple of hits. He goes 2 for 4 and a single off of Greinke into right, and then another single into right in the 6th. So back-to-back hits for him. One on the first pitch, one on a 1-2 count, and again both against Greinke. So that's good and fine, I suppose. Manuel Margot, by the way, he leads off 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. I don't really want to dog his performance necessarily. Partially because I'd kind of been, I guess, lobbying for him or someone else to hit in the leadoff spot instead of Meadows. I would prefer to see Meadows, at the 5th or 6th spot, but you move him down to 2 and that's fine. For Margot, and that was the big thing right out of the chute. He struck out looking on a 1-2 count, and I'll say it all the time. At this point, it's a daily bit basically that I do. Leadoff hitters, they have a job to do, not necessarily to get on base, although that's really what you would prefer, but just to work a good at-bat. Gets the starting pitcher out of rhythm and allows the next couple of hitters that come up in that inning to get a good look at the starting pitcher. And, of course, that's kind of the case for every inning, but it really can set the tone. If, you work a full count, you foul a bunch of pitches off, you're making that starting pitcher really sweat right out the gate. Instead, you let Zach Greinke have your way with you and you take strike 3. And then obviously that's not ideal. That's not how that works. And then you see it carry over as we do all the time. Austin Meadows flew out on a 1-2 count, although I think that might have been a pretty decent ride on that fly ball. And then Rosarena on a full count struck out. So they weren't able to get by. That strikeout looking for Margot, by the way, 88 miles an hour fastball. All 4 pitches in the at-bat were fastballs, and it was just kind of down and in. It was borderline pitch, but I understand Margot, I don't think he's not a big chase guy, but I don't know, on 2 strikes, protect on a border pitch, and then strikes out another 2 times over the course of the game. So I guess with that being said, yeah, the lineup as it was, the defense first, the outfield from left to right, it was Rosarena in left, Margot in center as Kiermaier kind of gets the day off. He might be back tomorrow. Austin Meadows in right field, so that opens up the DH for Yoshi Tsutsugo. In the infield, from third to first, Wendell at third base, Adames at short, Mike Brasso at second, Ji-Man Choi at first base. Mike Zunino did the catching. Obviously, the starting pitcher was Tyler Glass. Now I see Adames speaking on the Zoom room on Fox Sports Sun. They're doing their post game stuff. So I was checking for any Mark Tompkin quotes, but we don't have any yet. The way the lineup was ordered, Margot led off, followed by Meadows and Rosarena. Ji-Man Choi was the cleanup hitter, followed by Brasso and Wendell. And bottom 3 of Adames, Tsutsugo, and Zunino. I like really the way that this lineup was structured. I think Margot is a good leadoff hitter. I guess tonight didn't really show it, but a guy that can maybe bunt. It's just kind of a change of pace right out the gate. If you want to come out swinging, just having Margot try to bunt as the leadoff hitter, that could be potentially a thing. Meadows batting second, I think, works for him. I don't know if it's a pressure thing. I don't know. It's small sample size, again, 4 at-bats in the 2-hole, but it looks like maybe that could take some pressure off of him. Rosarena, he's going to bat second or third over the course of this postseason. It goes 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, so you think, but also hits a home run. So that was good to see. And in fact, it was a 2-run homer, so drove in Austin Meadows, so they can actually string together some hits. Of course, it's with the long ball. Ji-Man Choi cleans up, makes results with him, I think, 1 for 3 and a walk, also 2 strikeouts. Struck out to start the second. Struck out after that a Rosarena home run in the 4th with the bases empty. Singled with with men on, so that single in the sixth loaded the bases, so that was a clutch hit, a hit with runners in scoring position, although it doesn't drive anyone in. And then to start the ninth, worked a really good at bat. I think it was, I don't recall. Let me go all the way down here and see. Started off, 1-2 as I thought. Fouled the pitch off, still 1-2, and then takes 3 straight balls. A fastball up and away, a fastball up and away, and a fastball up and away, all at 94. So Choi walks there, and then that gets that ninth inning up and started. And I think, it seems like Choi, not necessarily with the hit, although, again, he did get the timely hit, 1-for-1 with runners in scoring position. And, of course, you like that. But Choi, it seems like he's kind of the definition of a timely walk. It seems like, especially when he starts an inning, and of course, I guess it's convenient to say that because he got the walk to start the inning tonight, but it seems like he's always good at that. When he starts the inning, and this is why I had lobbied for him as a potential leadoff hitter. Again, when he starts an inning, he just seems to work a really nice at-bat. Seems like he gets on base more times than not. Was the case in the ninth inning. Honestly, in the ninth inning, when you're down 2, there's no one I want to start because it's not like a solo home run will tie the game or anything. Ji-Man Choi is the guy that I want to come up first because I know he's probably going to find his way to first base. I guess a cleanup hitter did his job. Again, got a hit with runners in scoring position. I can't dog him too much for that. The 2 strikeouts on a 1-2 count against Greinke, and then on a 2-2 count against Greinke, but neither were in a big spot. Mike Brasso was the number 5 hitter. He goes 0-for-3 with a strikeout. They pull him to get the righty on lefty against the closer at the end there, so that's fine. I didn't really think too much of his performance. Played a fine second base instead of Lau. Worked a full count, grounds out to short. On a 1-2 count, grounds out to third, then strikes out on a full count. So there you go. That was his night. Nothing too inspiring there. Joey Wendell batted 6th. I like that spot for him. Towards the bottom of the order, I think makes a lot of sense. He ends up going 1-for-4 with a strikeout, but does score a run. I'm trying to see. That was on the fielder's choice in the ninth inning. So flies out the center on a 1-0 count. Flies out to left in an 0-1 count, strikes out in a 1-2 count, and grounds out in an 0-1 count. So I think maybe a different approach for Wendell. I think he does better when he sees more pitches in an at-bat, but he chases a lot of pitches, though. I'll give him that. So, getting more action early on in counts didn't necessarily work out for him here tonight to the tune of 0-for-4, but did run out a potential game-ending double play. Willie Adames, he bats 7th, goes 1-for-3, a walk. Again, that big double, just a few feet shy. It had to have been of a home run, and that would have tied the game. And of course, that would have been the story. I would have given the edge to the Rays in a potential extra inning spot, unless of course, he scored another run afterwards. And I think we could all kind of tell that when that ball wasn't a home run, you're like, yeah, the Rays don't string together hits. What do you think this is? They don't play baseball that way. Gets to third on a wild pitch, and then can't drive him in for Setsugo. Adames does work a walk. That's kind of been his calling card, and a couple decent flyouts as well. And Dave Wills had mentioned that a flyout to right and a flyout to center. And both pretty well hit, so it was like maybe he's starting to turn the corner, was seeing the baseball well for him. One was against Greinke, one was against Javier, I believe one was against Javier, and one was against Presley. So we got a different, and again, that's certainly not an easy thing either, getting a look at different guys each time around. So good. A closer, you got to double off a closer with the man on base. Good for you. Setsugo goes 1-for-4. Did not think much of his performance. I didn't think of this, but Kevin Cash talked about it on the pregame show on the radio, basically saying that he was intrigued by the lefty Setsugo matchup with the righty Greinke, and it not necessarily a righty lefty thing, but I think it's a good thing to bring up. But with Greinke being a soft tosser, his fastball tonight topped out again at about 90 or 91, but a lot of kind of 88, 89 stuff. Setsugo has been bad with hitting high velocity. I don't think he probably saw enough of that in Japan, because any guy that can throw major heat probably gets poached pretty early on. So, I mean, that's probably what he saw a lot in Japan was low 90s, high 80s, whatever. So you give him that matchup, I just want to take a look at let's do a deep dive here on the at-bats that he had, especially with Greinke. So he grounds out into a double play in the third inning. That was his first at-bat. It was after an Adames walk. Takes a fastball up and away. That pitch, at least on ESPN, looks like a strike, but they called it a ball. So it's 2-0. Fouls off a fastball at 88, middle down. And then a changeup, but the changeup was only 2 miles an hour off. Throws the fastball at 88, takes off 2 for the changeup at 86, and it was down and away, and he just kind of, I guess he kind of got hard contact with it, almost got it out of the infield, but I guess the shift was there for the double play. So that's what he was getting. Let's see, he came up and grounded out to second for the final out in the fifth inning. We'll take a look at the pitches that he saw there. It was with the bases empty and 2 out. Takes a curveball to start, then takes a fastball for a strike, then takes a fastball for a ball in about the same spot, and on a 2-1 count, gets a changeup down and away, and again, so that was his story. 2 groundouts on changeups down and away, and then let's see his single in the 7th. Let's see what he did there. Came with the bases empty and 2 outs. Takes a fast, and this was against Javier, so he's facing 95, 94. Takes a fastball or swings at a fastball for a strike, then takes a fastball middle away, 1-1. Then swings and misses at a fastball kind of middle up, and then on a fastball kind of middle away. Singles, it was an infield single though. I think it was Bregman that just had to eat the baseball, though he had it in his glove. And then his final at-bat, and really the most significant, I think, at-bat of any for the game, the fly-out to right to end the game in the 9th. It was, the scene, it was with the tying run, Adames at third base. Takes a fastball, a middle down. It was a wild pitch, so it starts off 1-0, then fouls off a slider, kind of down and in, swings and misses at a slider down and in, fouls off a slider kind of middle, and then on a slider kind of middle, but more so down and away, lines out. But it was pretty well hit. So that's kind of the story. I guess Itsugo soft stuff, either down and in or down and away, and he seems to have a lot of trouble with that. But I mean, I would imagine that's a prevalent thing in baseball. I mean, at least I know we see that a lot with both Brandon Lau and Austin Meadows, but even Joey Wendell. It's like, just take those pitches. But obviously, it looks a lot easier on TV than it really is, of course. And then Zunino 0 for 3, no big Zunino bomb tonight. Grounds out to third, flies out to left, and pops out to the first baseman. So not a whole lot going for him there. We'll draw the line there at 12:26. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Get the link out on the various social medias. By the way, if you're not already, follow at WHBC Stream on Twitter. It gets the link for this show immediately when it goes live on there. Again, also during the break, we still have a line open to any listeners that would like to call in. It is 877-566-1020 at about the midway mark of the show. We'll be right back.
Hey, sports fans! William's currently in the can, but he'll be right back. We're currently on a commercial break, so don't touch that dial. Remember, you can call us at 352-639-0036 or drop us a line on Twitter at WHBC Stream to tell us what's on your mind. We want to talk sports. We want to get unruly. We want you to tell us what you think so we can argue. Anyway, when all that's said and done, please stay tuned for William's world-famous Around the XFL podcast and other projects that he's currently got in the works. Please visit WHBCstream.com, and thanks again for listening in.
HBC. And at 12:29, we are back on the William Haynes Show. About midway mark of the show. What we're going to do for the remainder of the program, talk more about tonight's loss, preview tomorrow's game. It looks like right now, as I just double-check this, it looks like there's still no announced starters. So we're not going to know. Probably won't know until after this show goes off the air. Probably, just to be honest with you, it's going to be Josh Fleming in some extent. It's on 5:07 on TBS, so that game will probably be wrapping up at about 8 o'clock or so. So we'll be able to come on the air a little bit earlier than these kind of midnight starts. I think we came on last night at like 1 o'clock, and that was a little bit that was a little bit rough. But getting back to tonight's game, we talked about the lineup, everything that you needed to know from the pitching staff. Tyler Glasnow, the starter, gets the loss. I think the Rays had won, 11 straight games or something like that where he had started. I believe that's correct. Something along those lines. Very successful when he starts a game. Gives them 6 innings, 4 runs on 8 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Gives up 2 home runs, a solo shot to Altuve in the first, and also a 2-run blast by George Springer in the 5th inning. And again, those were both... I give the blame to his at-bats, I guess, for Martin Maldonado. Walks him in the 3rd inning, and he ends up coming across to score on an RBI double for Jose Altuve, and that was disappointing. But I guess ultimately you give him credit for limiting the damage, because that inning could have been a lot worse. They still leave 2 men on base. And then in the 5th inning, with 1 out and the bases empty, he gives up a single to Martin Maldonado, which I guess you can't really blame him as much for the hit than for the walk. Tyler Glasnow himself said that he was just a one-pitch pitcher tonight, and that's, of course, the danger with him. I was scared, and I think you're kind of scared to see a pitcher like that in a winner-take-all or like a Game 5 in an ALDS situation. Played fine in Game 5 against the Yankees, got him through the order one time through. This obviously was a lot different. Didn't look like there was any hangover potentially from that start on just 2 days rest, which is pretty bizarre. He said he feels fine. 6 innings, 96 pitches. That's not bad. And looking at his efficiency, 1st inning, 14 pitches, 8 for strikes. 2nd inning, 13 pitches, 9 for strikes. So he was cruising there relatively outside of that Altuve solo home run, but you just kind of let those go. 3rd inning, and every Rays starter really in this rotation is guilty of one of these innings per start. 27 pitches, 12 for strike. So half of his pitches could not find the strike zone, and that's how you get into some issues. Although, he did walk multiple men. He walked 2 in the inning. 4th inning, got back on track. 11 pitches, 7 for strikes. 5th inning, 18 pitches, 10 for strikes, but that included a 2-run homer. And in the 6th inning, 13 pitches, 9 for strikes. So, he was able to really kind of get out of stuff more times than not. He also had 3 double plays that took place during his start, 4 total for the Rays defense. So that went a long way as well. Glasnow had not got a double play at all in the regular season, and he got 3 in 1 start. That's bizarre, and that's this playoff defense for you. Absolutely stellar. The shift has been in the right spot. All that stuff that you would want to see. Too much contact off the fastball, and that was a danger as well when we're talking about the Houston Astros. I think it's kind of parallel to the struggles that Nick Anderson had. What was that? That was in game 2. A guy like that, fastball, curveball, that's Nick Anderson as well. Really depends on the strikeout. Glasnow depending on the swing and the miss. And an Astros lineup that doesn't strike out, and that makes contact a lot. So you put those together, and it's kind of a mismatch. 6 innings of 4 runs is nothing to bellyache about, though, although he does get the loss. But again, if the Rays don't leave the bases loaded in the 6th, and they come through with a tying run 90 feet away in the 9th inning, we're not talking about Glasnow in that way. We're talking about how good he was getting this kind of fatigued pitching staff through 6 innings, which I thought was pretty large. If it wasn't for some hiccups in the 6th, They might have let him try and finish his 7th inning, because at that point, I mean, it would have been, I mean, let's say he hadn't given up one of the singles. I mean, it would have been facing kind of the 7, 8, 9 hitters, and I think maybe just try and get him through that 7th inning. But with 96 pitches, you obviously don't have him start an inning. He threw 96 pitches total, 55 for strikes, so about half, found the zone, which is not good. But to 6 innings and under 100 pitches is still relatively efficient. And this is a big stat as well. Faced 25 batters, threw a first pitch strike to 13 of them. So that's about a 50% mark, and that's not great. Looking at how the Astros lineup fared against him each time through the order. The first time through, the Stros got 2 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, and put 1 run on the board. The second time through, they did pretty much just as well. 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, and 1 run. So it was pretty much identical. Or sorry, that would have been... is that right? Yeah, it is right. And then the third time through the order, he didn't face the last 2, but gives up 4 hits, doesn't walk anybody, doesn't strike anybody out, so and gives up 2 runs. So seemed like the lineup kind of got to him the third time through, I guess. I mean, gives up a hit to Springer, Brantley, Bregman, and Kyle Tucker. So I don't know, make of that what you will. The guy that came to relieve Glasnow in the 7th inning, a guy that we haven't seen, I believe. I want to make sure this is correct. I want to say the date is August 14th, but we've had so many guys. August 14th, he got 2 outs against the Blue Jays. I thought he looked good. I think certainly, I don't know, gets a little bit lost in the conversation just because of the offensive woes, to be totally honest with you. But it's fine. He was Jose Alvarado. That's the bottom line. An inning pitched, 2 strikeouts, 1 hit, no runs allowed, 22 pitches, 13 for strikes, faced 4 men, threw first pitch strike to 1 of them. Relatively easy spot. Got the 8 and 9 slots. They end up pinch hitting for the lefty Josh Reddick to get a righty and lefty. So faces Aldemus Diaz, Martin Maldonado, strikes them both out. Goes to the top. Springer in a really good at bat, works a single, and then gets Michael Brantley to ground out in a 2-2 count. Pretty much just throws sinkers. As an occasional, I believe it's a cutter. That works into right-handers and almost, I think, hit George Springer. He had to back away, and the fact that he still got a hit out of that at-bat is rather kind of insane. But, fastball, it's a sinker, but, 98 miles an hour with the movement that it has, that's going to get a lot of major league hitters out, and it did. I think this, and he's, by no means am I saying Jose Alvarado is in the Rays A bullpen. I don't think that's the right thing to do. He's in, as Dave Wills would say, the A1 bullpen, because the Rays, they don't necessarily have a B bullpen. I mean, 13 guys get a save. Everyone is in play at any moment, but maybe this is more so for next year. I've been a guy that's kind of tried to stick by Jose Alvarado. I know we have some listeners to this program that aren't as big a fan of him, and that's certainly justified. You can't have a pitcher in a late inning situation that has such a hard time controlling the zone, finding the strike zone. But that's an A-plus pitch, man. I mean, that's hard for hitters late in the game to try and face, especially when they're down. 98 running into them or running away from them. It's just hard to get the bat to it. So good to see him back in the mix. I was clamoring for him. I mean, all those spots where Aaron Loop came in, you're telling me you wouldn't want to see this Jose Alvarado? I understand there was the fear of the unknown, but come on. This Jose Alvarado is way better than the Aaron Loop we're getting right now. But I guess that's neither here nor there. Just be positive that he's having the success that he had tonight. In 22 pitches, first appearance since August 14th. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he's out of play for tomorrow, but you're going to have Fairbanks, Castillo, Anderson. I mean, you could get potentially like 4 innings out of those guys, maybe more. So, I mean, they can get really creative, especially if they have the lead. They want to get out of this series. A point that I wanted to make, the World Series does not start until Tuesday. So it would have been great if they could have wrapped it up tonight. I think you'd be a little concerned about them not playing for a while. It looks like this Dodgers-Braves series is going to go pretty deep, especially if the Dodgers end up winning it, as I presume they do. Let's say, I mean, the Dodgers win the next 3 games. That's still taking it out I don't know, until, I don't know, what is it, Friday or Saturday? So, yeah, because that would be Game 6, and I think that's on Saturday, I believe. So, the Rays' opponent, hypothetically, in the World Series would have been playing a little bit longer, so potentially less rested, and the Rays could be more rested. They still have a chance to do just that. I mean, we're already here this morning. As I say tomorrow, it's kind of a where you lie. I tend to more so say tomorrow because, I don't know. That's a Seinfeld thing. I don't need to get into that. We are technically in Thursday morning, so they can wrap it up here on this Thursday and have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. So that would be 4 off days. You can reset everything. Game 1, and there's going to be a couple off days in the World Series as well. But, Game 1 against the Dodgers, they may have to start a weird starter because, Kershaw or Walker Buehler or whatever had to come in a Game 7 or a Game 6, whatever the case. But Game 1, Rays got Blake Snell in the bump. They got Nick Anderson ready to roll. They got Castillo, Fairbanks, Thompson, Alvarado, everyone out of the chute. I don't know, maybe some time off would help a guy like Brandon Lau just kind of work in the cage. They're taking BP probably somewhere. I don't know. Well, they're in the bubble. I don't think they could go back to the Trop. They may be able to stay in Petco Park and just work on baseball activity. Or they may have to rebubble up in Arlington. I don't know exactly what the protocol is going to be with that, but I think it's crucial. It's important that the Rays wrap up this series. The longer they let it go, I just think it just hinders them. Even 3-1. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want any kind of 2004 New York Yankees thing going on as I knock the fake wood at the desk. But I don't know. Just don't let them stay in it. Don't keep. I don't know. It just, bad things can happen. A guy could get injured. Whatever the case, you definitely don't want a Rosarena to cool off anytime soon. So just get out of the series while you still can. You can wrap this thing up in 5. It's still impressive if you win the series in 5. The 4-game sweep would have really put a statement, would have put an exclamation mark on it. But that doesn't really matter. Just win the series and get out of this thing. And tomorrow's going to be weird, but it's going to be weird for both teams because Josh Fleming, in some extent, let me refresh, Mark Tompkin, it looks like they probably won't announce a starter, until, I don't know when the latest possible time is. I think Dusty Baker's holding his cards close to the vest. They named a slew of names on the broadcast. Chase DeYoung, Luis Garcia. I think that was it. I want to say guys that could be eligible to start. And then we get in that situation with a Game 6 or a Game 7, then you're re-rolling the starting rotation over. Like Game 6 would be Snell and Valdez, and in a Game 7 would be who started in Game 2? It was is that right? It was Charlie Morton to start in Game 2, and then it would be Morton against Lance McCullers Jr. in a potential Game 7 spot. So it's really just this one game that you have to cover. I mean, if we get to Game 6, I think we're all going to be sweating through because this Houston Astros lineup has been hitting the ball hard and just have been unlucky. They catch a couple breaks tonight, so if the momentum starts swinging back in their favor, you better watch out. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and say that, oh, man, they didn't take this game, they're screwed. They're not. They still have, 3 more chances to win one. They're one win away from a World Series, and let's not allow that to be lost on us either. I know it's always easier to be negative with the loss, and I can get caught in to that as well. So, I don't know. The Rays just keep, I don't know. I would say keep playing your game, but your game necessarily isn't exactly working, but I guess it has, to the tune of you're up 3-1 in the ALCS, so you might as well stick with it. So anyway, I kind of got off on a thing there about Alvarado, had me taking a step back with the big picture. Aaron Slegers came on to pitch the 8th just to keep it a 4-2 game, and he performs admirably, walks a man, but ends up getting a double play ball as well, so all is well there. 12 pitches. He's in play tomorrow, I think, to pitch multiple innings to kind of show my cards a bit. I would not start Josh Fleming outright. I think the Rays know better than to do that. A rookie who is a soft tosser, who gets crushed against righties. Do not let him face Springer, Altuve, Bregman in the first inning. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. Just put in Ryan Thompson, let him do his thing, get a handful of outs, and then maybe see how long you can cruise. I wouldn't imagine you get more than 3 innings from Fleming. And then maybe you get 2 from Sleggers. And then if you're winning, you got Castillo, Fairbanks, Anderson, and some of these other guys the Rays have in the pen. They've got kind of limited options. McClanahan has yet to appear in this series. John Curtis would be good to go. So there you go with that. We'll do inning by inning stuff now. Maybe blaze through it. Officially preview tomorrow's game, although we have no idea who the starting pitchers are going to be. Let me just make sure that ESPN hasn't updated anything yet, so I don't look like a bozo here on the air. They have not. So really don't know what the game's going to look like. Still no update from Mark Tompkins, so that's all fine and good. As I go inning by inning, don't be afraid to interrupt me. I'm more than fine with that. If you want to call into the show, we have a line open still at 877-566-1020 with you for another 15 minutes or so. Top of the first against Zach Greinke. Manny Margot strikes out. We talked about that extensively already. Worked a piss poor at bat, I would say. Doesn't take the bat off the shoulder. I forgot to mention that. Takes a fastball kind of low and away, and then takes the next 3 fastballs at 88 inside the zone. What are you doing, Margot? What are you doing? That's it. That's the tweet. Austin Meadows flies out, and Arozarena strikes out on a full count. So Greinke kind of rolling, only threw 14 pitches in that first inning. Bottom of the first. Against Tyler Glasnow, it was George Springer hitting a leadoff single. We take a look at that at bat. He was up 2-0. Fastball. Was not able to get it elevated and in the zone. That was another big problem. Couldn't get that fastball up called for strikes. Then Brantley grounds into a double play. That was a little bit refreshing to see. Again, the first double play that Glasnow has received this season. It goes, not that it matters, but it went 3-6-3. So it was G-Man Choi being decisive, going to second base, then receiving it back at first base. All fastballs not at bat as well. So the first 7 pitches that he threw were fastballs. And then Jose Altuve gives him a curve low, and then a fastball. The zone looks a little bit manipulating because Jose Altuve's strike zone is microscopic, so a fastball up to him is basically middle to a big league guy. So he crushes it. It was a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but he goes 400 feet even to left center to make it 1-0 Stros. And then he gets Alex Bregman to line out on a curveball. Actually gave Bregman 4 curveballs there. And one was taken middle, one was non-competitive outside, one was fouled off, and then the other, another one middle he flew out on. So I'm just going to pay extra attention to that because of the quote from Glasnow basically saying that he was a one-pitch pitcher tonight. So I wanted to do a deep dive, if you will, on the curveball. Greinke on the mound, top of the second. G-Man Choi starts the inning. I know, he's so good at starting the innings. He strikes out swinging, so I can eat my words there. I'm joking, of course. Starts off 1-0, fouls off a changeup, fouls off a fastball middle, and then swings through a fastball middle again. Righty-lefty, fastball middle at 89, 90. Can you please hit that? Can you please just hit it? Get on base, please. Don't strike out. But that's part of the Rays' frustrations right now. Brasso starts off 0-2, but works the count full, and then grounds out on a changeup, kind of down, middle down, basically. Grounds out to shortstop, and then Wendell on a liner off a curveball for out number 3. So Greinke had retired the first 6 men that he faced. Bottom of the second, Glasnow gets a 1-2-3. Correa, Tucker, and Gurriel, so taking care of business there. Picks up a couple of strikeouts along the way. Top of the third, Greinke faces the minimum still for a first time through the order. Adames, leadoff walk, make him pay. An 8-pitch at bat. Was taking curveballs, was taking changeups, fouling off a fastball, a curveball. He was doing all kinds of stuff. He saw all 3 pitches in the at bat. Ends up walking. Yoshi Tsutsugo. We know on the 2-1 count it was a changeup down and away. Made good contact with it, but could only ground into the double play. And then Zunino goes down pretty easy grounds out to third. So Greinke had seen the minimum through 3. Bottom of the third for Tyler Glasnow. Gets Reddick to strike out. Then he walks the 9-man Maldonado. Had him at 2-2. Fastball away. Fastball, that looked like a strike, but he walked there. I think I remember that pitch. Should have been called a strike. But whatever. You walk the 9-hitter, you're going to pay. George Springer lines out to the pitcher. It was like off of his pitching arm. And there was all kinds of weird stuff going on with that. Trainer had to come out and see him, even though Glasnow said he was fine. But that moves Maldonado over to second. Then you walk Michael Brantley in 5 pitches. It was just, I totally forgot to look at the curveballs. I don't see anything extraordinary. The Maldonado walk was a big deal with the curveballs because 2 of them were taken outside the zone. The Springer one, there was a taken curveball, and then the Brantley walk, there was 1 curveball in there as well. So I don't exactly know. So there's a couple men on with, at that point, 2 outs. Jose Altuve comes up, does some damage again. On a 1-1 count, it's a curveball up and away, but who knows where that pitch was actually located to Altuve. The strike zone is a little bit skewed. I think it was like right at the letters, and Altuve sits at the front of the box and likes to turn on those like before they even break. So he doubles, scores Maldonado, second and third, with Bregman coming up. So good on Glasnow. I think this was a key moment in the game to limit the damage here. In a 2-0 game, a single makes it 4-0, and you get Bregman to ground out to the pitcher. There you go. Had him 3-1, so 1 more bad pitch would have loaded the bases. There was a couple of curveballs taken there, just non-competitive, I guess. I mean, where they're located, I mean, you see swing and misses on those all the time, so I don't exactly know what the issue was. I really can't say. And then it was just a fastball kind of middle away from Bregman, and he got him to ground out. So there you go, 2-0, limited the damage. So there you go. Top of the fourth, Rays finally do something, tie the game. Margot strikes out swinging, 7-pitch at bat. He was kind of working it, but couldn't get on base. Then Meadows singles on a 1-2 count. It's a changeup out of the zone, down and away, his chase pitch, but actually singles off of it. So there you go. Then Randy Arozarena comes up. Are they going to pitch to him? Doesn't look like it. Starts him out 3-0. Then takes a fastball at 88, kind of right on the border there, middle away. Then got 73-mile-an-hour curveball, kind of middle at 73. And usually Arozarena, it's crushing the fastball. Not this time. He tees off on a 73-mile-an-hour pitch, 375 feet to left. He himself scores. Meadows scores. Tie ball game 2-2. Choi strikes out. Brasso grounds out. Also, I just want to go on a little tangent. I listen to like a lot of New York City sports radio, and Mike Brasso, a guy that killed your season, and this may be ticky-tack, and maybe we actually are pronouncing his name wrong. I don't think so, though. And the guy that ended the Yankees season, Mike Brasso, right? Got the home run off of Aroldis Chapman, we all remember. Why is every dang host on WFAN calling him Brasso? All the callers, Mike Brasso, Mike Brasso. It's Mike Brasso. He ended your season. Learn how to pronounce his name correctly. And I don't know, that could have been the guy on TBS. I didn't listen to the telecast. I don't care for a national kind of play-by-play man talking about the Rays. National baseball media does not give a rat's but about the Rays, and Dave and Andy are great, so I just listen to them. So maybe they deserve the blame for calling him Brasso. Enough's enough. Brasso deserves respect. That was just interesting. So there's my tangent for the show. Good for at least one per show for whoever's listening here at 12:53 in the morning here on the East Coast. Bottom of the fourth for Houston. It was Glasnow on. Got a 1-2-3 inning, a couple strikeouts of Correa and Tucker. Also got Gurriel to ground out. So worked into a rhythm. That was an 11-pitch inning, so we had a couple of those. Top of the fifth, Greinke back to kind of where he started. Got a 1-2-3. Wendell, Adames, and Setsugo. We talked about the Setsugo at-bats. Bottom of the fifth, Glasnow stays on and gets bit a little bit. Reddick flies out, and then Martin Maldonado on a 3-1 count, so you almost walked him anyway. A couple curveballs taken for strikes. And then a fastball middle he singles off of. So there you go. He just missed his spot, I think, trying to get those up. The previous fastball, by the way, was a little bit too high. So maybe he didn't want to walk him and just wanted to make sure it was in the zone. The 9-hole hitter, I guess might usually take those. I don't know exactly. I mean, Maldonado was a career, I think, 218 hitter. Gets a single. Bad things happen when the 9-hole hitter gets on base because you're bringing up some of the best hitters in baseball, again, with men on the diamond. George Springer comes up, starts him off 2-0, then you get to 2-1, go to the fastball up. He gets the fastball up at 98, but Springer, he's just a good hitter, 405 feet to left, scores Maldonado and himself to put the Astros back on top by a score of 4-2, and then gives up a single to Brantley, so you're thinking this whole thing is going to come unraveled, but then Brantley with one out, up comes Altuve, grounds into a double play on the first pitch. So that was beautiful. That was the second double play that he got of the night. So there you go. Gets him out of the inning. 4-2. Astros after 5. Top of the 6th. Rays threatened against Greinke, but of course, they're the Rays. They didn't come through. Zunino flies out. So 1 out, base is clear. Then Margot reaches base on an infield single. I think the third baseman Bregman just couldn't handle it right. Then Meadows singles to right on a first pitch, changeup down and away. So that's the second hit he got off of a changeup down and away against Greinke. There you go, gotta love that. Couple men on, 1 out. Arozarena comes up. Oh man, 1 swing of the bat, they could potentially be up a run. On a 1-2 count, swings and misses, chases a changeup down and in for out number 2. Then G-Man Choi in a big spot. Reaches base. They call it an infield single. It looked like it got through to me, but it was a changeup down and away to him. I guess that's Greinke's put-away pitch, is just the changeup down and away. I guess it was at times. So that loads the bases with 1 out. Up comes Mike Brasso, or I won't do it. I won't call him Brissot. But Mike, I guess an inside joke for whoever ended up listening to this on tomorrow's show if I call him Brissot. And everyone thinks I'm an ass because I didn't pronounce his name right. Worked a decent count. It was good count, 3-2. Change up down. It was like middle down, so kind of weird movement. Gave him a lot of change ups in that at bat, to be honest with you. Strikes out swinging. So you think, I don't know, just, and the changeup, by the way, is like the same speed as the fastball, unless it's like his little eephus pitch at like high 60s that he'll do. But the changeup there was at 88. So, I mean, he threw fastballs slower than that at times. So, Brasso with the bases full, strikes out. There's your game, at least in my opinion. Bottom of the 6th, Glasnow on. Bregman reaches base on an infield single. It was just too far up the third base line for Glasnow or Zunino to get there. Wendell couldn't get down in time either, so a man on. And, of course, actually, no, they don't have to pay for that. Carlos Correa, I don't know why I couldn't pronounce his name there. I almost froze up. Grinds into a double play. And the third one that the Glasnow received. Base is empty, 2 outs. Then Tucker singles, but then you get Gurriel to basically ground out to end the inning. So Glasnow ends up getting through 6 of 4 runs. Basically, just if he had handled Maldonado a little bit better, we could have been talking, 6 innings of 1-run ball. Who knows exactly? Because of course, still would have been the solo homer to Altuve in the first. Top of the 7th, it was Christian Javier, and he was really good tonight. Wendell strikes out. Adames flies out. Satsuga reaches base on an infield single. First postseason hit of his career. Hopefully many more to come next season. Zunino flies out to end the inning. Bottom of the 7th. Alvarado comes on. Strikes out Aledmus Diaz, who pinch hits to get the righty and lefty. It was a 2-2 count. All sinkers. That's pretty much his only pitch. Located it relatively well. Only got one that ran too far into him. And then, found the zone. 98-99. Wicked movement. Good luck hitting it. Then strikes out Maldonado. All sinkers again. They were all close. They were all on the border. A couple of them called for balls. So there you go. 2 outs. Base is clear. George Springer gets a single off of him on a full count. Pitches on the border, but a little less competitive. The ones that were called outside the zone. And then singles off of a good one up and into him. So he gets run off. Springer gets run off the plate by one that was on a cutter that was way kind of middle and in. And then he ends up giving him up and in at 97, and he singles off of it. That's a big league hitter right there, George Springer. And then Michael Brantley grounded out to second. Again, all sinkers. He only threw one cutter, at least according to ESPN, in that entire inning. And I know he's just kind of a sinker baller, but all pitches to me, I mean, there's a couple that were non-competitive-ish, but even the ones that were called balls looked like they still caught a decent amount at the plate. So, borderline pitches at 97 with movement. Again, good luck hitting it. It's just a good pitch. Good to see him back for the first time since August 14th. They make a couple moves defensively. I won't bore you with that in the 8th. Javier gives another 1-2-3, including the top three hitters. That was disappointing as well. They could have had a chance to maybe make a run at things because that was basically going to be their last at-bat of the game. Margot strikes out in 3 pitches. Meadows flies out on a fastball, middle. Come on, Meadows. And then Rosarena strikes out on a fastball, ugly down and away. Just was chasing stuff during that. Yeah, he set him up, so started him off 0-2 with a strike looking and a strike swinging on sliders, then 2 fastballs, and then of course on a 1-2 goes back to the slider. So set him up there. Rosarena, he's still developing. Let's not forget that. He's not all the way there yet. He's just on a really, really hot streak. Bottom of the 8th, Sleggers comes on. Altuve flies out. Then he walks Bregman, but gets Correa again to ground into another double play. The 4th turn of the night by the Rays defense. It was nice to see that. I hadn't really seen a lot in the postseason because I that's a category in my scorebook. So I'm like, wow, I'm not really penciling in a lot of double plays. I was certainly doing that tonight. The Rays had one of their own as well. So 5 total double plays in this game for both teams. Top of the 9th. Christian Javier stays in the game because I guess they don't want to have to use the closer Ryan Presley. Choi walks, starts him off 1-2. Give him all fastballs in the at-bat, but then took 3 straight fastballs basically away, which that cannot be easy to do. I'd imagine it would be easier to take fastballs in because you can kind of see it up close a little better than fastballs away, especially with 2 strikes. I mean, that's a good batter's eye right there. With 2 strikes, to take fastballs like that away for balls, good on Choi, gets on base. Then Brandon Lau pinch hits for Brasso. They bring in the closer Presley for that spot. Strikes out Brandon Lau, starts him off 1-0. It was just a curveball high and away that missed. Then, I hate even having to look back and say this. Chased at 3 straight sliders down and in. Brandon Lau, please. What makes you think that that's a good idea? The first time, fine. Maybe take the second one. It's a 1-1 count. You can afford to take a pitch, especially after you look bad. I guess he's thinking fastball again. Swings and misses at another slider. 1-2. Okay, you're going to protect. Nope. Slider down and in again in the dirt. Go ahead and dig it out there, Lau, and then head back to the dugout. So I don't mean to dog him. He's been great for the Rays this year, but was at number 1 in the inning. Joey Wendell almost grounds into the game-ending double play, but the hustle guy that he is ends up running it out. So it's a man on first, bit better base runner as well. So for the cost of an out, you swap out Wendell for Choi at first base. Then Adames comes up on an 0-1 count and gave him both sliders in the at-bat. And it was just kind of middle away and just got it to deep center. Scored Wendell. Got himself to second, so almost a home run. It was really, really close. I thought it was, and that would have been a really cool moment. Still, I guess, was, but just couldn't. And obviously, that's not on Adames, by the way. Just the moment didn't necessarily come through, if you will. So the tying run is at second base. The at-bat to Setsugo, ball 1 was low and was a wild pitch. Adames gets to third base. Tying run, 90 feet away, with 2 outs and a 1-0 count to Setsugo. Was, not 95 fastball, but then they were all sliders after that. 1-0 count, runner at third, slider, down and in, fouls it off. Slider, down and in, swings and misses. Slider, down and in, fouls it off. Slider, down and in, lines out to right field. So, it was tough. Looked good off the bat. Kyle Tucker was there. No, who was in right field at that point? George Springer was in right field. So it was close. any base hit, it's weird in those moments. If it was hit a little less hard, it would have been probably a base hit and would have scored a run. But I don't know. Good at bat, I guess. I don't know. That's the game. The bases loaded situation in the 6th where they don't come through. That was Mike Brasso. So you live with that, I guess. Choi, with a bit better hit, could have scored a run himself, but singles to load the bases. So I don't think necessarily you hold that against him. Glasnow, don't let Martin Maldonado, the 9-hitter, do that to you. That's really been Glasnow's struggle, by the way. I know that the 9-hitter, Danny Jansen, in his wild card start, had 2 solo home runs off of him. So, and I forget about the game 2 start. I don't necessarily recall against the Yanks, but did struggle with that. Seems like a lot of solo home run stuff. So hopefully he gets cleaned up. The Rays are going to need him. He's a big part of what they do. Snell and Morton are very definitively 5-inning pitchers. So getting length out of Glasnow is huge. He gave him 6 tonight, but the bullpen is in pretty good shape because Alvarado and Slegers did their job. That's really all I can say as well. Margot didn't work the at-bats that I would have liked at leadoff. Meadows did well. I think ultimately Randy Arozarena, they're calling him Ran Diego. I'm into that. Look, he's been very good this postseason without a doubt. Choi, I guess, kind of comes through again. He's fine at cleanup. Brasso kind of let the team down a little bit there. Adames came through huge. Great defense as always. Was involved in he was involved in all those double plays as you would expect as the shortstop. But then that Setsugo at bat left. I wouldn't say left a little bit to be desired because it was still a good at bat. Just didn't necessarily come through with it. So you make of that what you will. I'll do one final lap around just to see if we have any announced starters. And it looks to me that we will not until maybe sometime tomorrow. So 5:07 on TBS. Just by the way, if the series goes longer, 6:07 on Friday, 8:37 on Saturday, Game 7. I'm not hoping for that. Let's be honest. 5:07 on TBS. Unknown versus unknown. Starting pitching matchup. Trying to, I guess, identify some sort of lineup here. I have no idea. I mean, Meadows, you play your best guys. I mean, I would imagine Kiermaier may start tomorrow. He could have came in today, Cash said. So, I don't know. Maybe you play him to get an edge at defense, although Margot looked fine in center. So, maybe Randy Arozarena in left, Kiermaier in center. I don't think they're going to do it again, but I would like to see Meadows in right. But for realistic sake, put Margot in right. Meadows will probably be the DH, in fact, and then the infield depends on righty-lefty matchup. It looks like it's going to be an opener either way. Let's just make sure. Chase DeYoung is a righty. Luis Garcia is a righty. They're going to be seeing a righty, so probably G-Man Choi to play first. Brandon Lau at second. Adames at short. Wendell at third. There you go. I don't know. Let Zunino play catcher. For Fleming or whoever instead of Perez. I don't know. Personal preference for them, I suppose. Out of the bullpen, pretty much everyone is in play, probably except for Jose Alvarado. Sorry, I got distracted. I got ESPN on the monitor, and they had the Brett Phillips holding up the sign that said Randy. Brett Phillips did the acronym thing. Randy. Rakes all day, night, year, something like that. It was just a kind of fun moment. So Alvarado's not in play. Castillo, Fairbanks, Anderson would be. Curtis would be. Loop would be. McClanahan. Slegers for a couple innings. Thompson. I would imagine Thompson will probably start. And then, so maybe you have Thompson get 4 or 5 outs depending on matchups. Then you give 2 to 3 innings to Fleming. And then you play the game by ear. If you're losing, let's see if Slegers can get through 2. If you're winning, again, I mean, however many outs are left, you combine them with Fairbanks, Castillo, and Anderson. Those guys can all go multiple innings, and none of them appeared tonight. Fairbanks and Castillo are on 1 day's rest, and Nick Anderson is going to be on... he'll be on 2 days rest. So I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's hard to preview this game without a pitching matchup, but it looks like it's going to be a bullpen day for both teams. So it's really going to be about coming through in a big moment offensively, which the Rays have not necessarily been great at doing this postseason. So let's hope things turn around differently. I'll be on the air, win or loss. I said this last night and at the closing. It doesn't necessarily feel the same. That Game 5 against the Yankees, it was such a big, high-pressure situation. Right now, the Rays are commanding lead. They're up 3-0 tonight. I wasn't sweating it too much. They're up 3-1 tomorrow or later tonight, however you want to look at it. We're now at 109 here early on this Thursday morning. I don't know. I won't be as much with the champagne and all that stuff. It just doesn't seem right. I mean, first World Series since 2008 is a big deal. Houston hasn't put up too much of a fight, it seems like. And even tonight, they almost lost a 4-game sweep. So, I don't know. The World Series, we'll all be going nuts if they hopefully win it. And I got to knock on the fake wood again. I guess that means I need to find some real wood to knock on. I got to get a block or something. Anyway, win or loss, will be on the air. 5 o'clock first pitch would probably mean 8:30 or so. We'll be on the air. Be taking your calls. Hopefully it'll be a celebratory mood. It seems like we get less callers when we lose than when we win, which I guess is a good thing. I don't mind, people venting. That's kind of part of baseball discussion is, what should be done with the team. But I understand people like to call in when the team wins and celebrate. That's certainly a big part of baseball as well. What the team did right, celebrating the good, not necessarily hounding on the bad. So I guess I kind of commend you guys for that. They lose, you guys just sit back and listen. They win, you want to get on in the discussion, and that's perfectly fine. I appreciate everyone that listens to the program, everyone that calls in. Now with that, I'm going to go ahead and put a wrap here on the show. I guess it's not really a big game. I was going to say big game in like an emphatic way, but I don't know about that. Game 6 would be a big game. I don't know. Really a crapshoot like today. Vegas had the Rays pretty heavily favored today. I thought we would take care of Greinke, but we did not. So maybe Brandon Lau finally comes through. Maybe Adames comes through. Who knows? Maybe G-Man Choi has a clutch home run. I don't think he's had one yet this postseason. So I don't know. The bullpen could do their thing. Interesting to see if Fleming plays someone on short rest. Maybe Blake Snell. Wouldn't rule it out. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sports Radio 101.9 FM and Sports Radio 66. The Fan.
HBC.
W